today's show.
We talk Jokic's latest ejection, the Lakers shutting down LeBron, and oh so many threes.
Jared Greenberg joins us live from Boston to discuss what might be Dwayne Wade's last game at the Garden.
And this week's edition of Weekend Whoopsies has gone to the dogs.
It's Monday, April 1st. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters presented by Jack Daniels, Old Number 7, and Tennessee Honey. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, it's Taz Mellis.
Only 12 more sleeps until the playoffs start.
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max. That's Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And last but not least, over yonder, the handsomest guy on the show, it's the bearded one. That's Trey Kirby.
Heyo.
Hey-o. Trey, what you got for us?
Well, guys, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets using hashtag the starters. As you know, it's April Fool's Day today, which is a day where we celebrate by playing pranks on each other and spreading hoaxes. It's all terribly lame, something we would never partake in. But the NBA has had some fun with it before. As we all know, the Sacramento Kings, they took the popcorn prank to like the next level when they popcorned Nick Stauskas' entire apartment. Charles Barkley once pranked his then teammate Manute Bol with the classic human under the dinnerware cover, got Rick Mahorn style. But my favorite, April 1st, 1997, the Knicks decided to fool their fans by announcing on their pregame show that they had signed a 52-year-old Clyde Frazier to a 10-day contract, releasing third-string point guard Scott Brooks to make room. He was devastated. This thing's like 7 or 8 minutes long. It's unbelievable. You gotta YouTube that. They really went in on that bit. But we want to hear from you guys. Let us know, what's your favorite NBA prank? Tweet at us using hashtag the starters, and we'll hear from you guys a little bit later. Before we get into it, my favorite prank is, of course, anytime I can hit my man Lee with a classic pocket dog. So Lee, I need you to look under your chair. Take a look under your chair.
What? I don't.
No.
Just kidding, it's right here! Got you! Have a little dogger bite,
This
my
is
friend.
my lucky day.
Got him!
Had a bit of a bar 3 workout today. I'm feeling a little peckish.
Yummy!
Oh, just diving right in with that pocket dog. You
Freshie. This is a freshie.
Only the best.
All right, good stuff on tonight's show. We're going to talk to Jared Greenberg live from Boston ahead of tonight's pivotal Heat-Celtics game. We got a new batch of Weekend Whoopsies. We got so many wedgies, and Lee, if he can get over the pocket dog, is going to hit us with a very solid play. But first, we're going to play a little bit of Is This News? Trey has rounded up some of today's NBA headlines. Going to pitch them to us like he's Sid Finch. We'll determine whether or not the headlines are actually newsworthy. Trey, take it away.
All right, our first headline comes from The Athletic, behind the paywall. Who's got the money over here? It reads, Nikola Jokic's second ejection in 2 weeks reveals frustration the All-Star has had with officiating. Is this news?
I think this is news because, as Trey mentioned over there, this is not the first time it's happened with Nikola Jokic. He got ejected a couple of weeks ago. Now, they survived that one, the Denver Nuggets, but last night, a home game against a team that was effectively out of the playoffs, the Washington Wizards, and they couldn't get over the hump. I think they might be feeling a little bit of the pressure, Denver, of really trying to get that #1 spot in the Western Conference, having home court the entire playoffs, because if they get to the conference finals and if they face the Golden State Warriors, they need any little advantage. So Nikola Jokic, he's a big guy, he's an all-star. He's been complaining a little bit this season that he's not getting those star calls. I think last night was another example of him getting just frustrated because things haven't quite gone his way so far as the season gets towards the playoffs.
You got to keep your cool. I mean, your team is shooting 19% from three-point land. Jamal Murray's out of the game. He's the second best player. It's like when my favorite rapper, Ludacris, said, you're going for the #1 spot. You got 6 games remaining. Only tomorrow, you're playing the Golden State Warriors. You got to turn this baby around. They just won by 47, the Warriors did. How do you expect to win if you don't have your best player in the game?
Yeah, it's very tough. Tass, you mentioned it earlier. This frustration's kind of been building for Nikola Jokic. That's something Mike Malone mentioned after the game. It feels like Jokic has become kind of a hard guy to officiate. He's always leaning on his opponents, drawing a ton of contact, and he's always doing these sort of like gentle flops where he kind of throws his head back, and it seems like he got hit in the face, even if he didn't the last night. I think that was a bad call against Jokic. Before he got tossed, he's 40th in free throw attempts, but only 80th in free throw rate. free throws per field goal attempt. Jokic is banging down low inside. He's not always getting the calls. It's understanding why he might be a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, but you know what? He is taking that ascent. We've been talking about him as perhaps being in the MVP conversation. Well, if you're in that conversation, you're going to get a little bit harder. You're going to get guys coming after you because they know how good you are, and he has to deal with it. And Mike Malone sort of talked about that as well, saying he needs to keep his cool, he needs to stay under pressure, and most importantly, he needs to stay on the court. They can't go without Nikola Jokic for any more games like this, because this could cost them later on down the line.
Well, you remember when last week I said this game is as physical as the 80s. Did you see those plays right there? This game is just as physical. This game is not soft.
Old man.
By any means. This is the same league that you grew up in with the short shorts. They're just as tough. Yeah, the rules have changed a bit. Nothing has changed, though. They're tough men.
Yeah, and well, speaking of tough men, we'll be seeing those tough men, the Denver Nuggets, tomorrow on TNT. They're the late game of the doubleheader. You got Nuggets versus Warriors. That follows the Lakers playing in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. Trey, need another headline.
All right, our next headline is from a tiny little website called ESPN, and it reads, Luke Walton says the Lakers convinced LeBron to shut it down. Is this news? Skeets, you've been saying this for weeks. What do you feel like?
Hey, what can I say? I called it. I told you they were going to shut him down when the Lakers were finally out of the playoff contention and after LeBron has realized he can't really do much more for this team. That being said, I do think this is news because every game LeBron doesn't play is another game where he's not chasing against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's 6,000 points shy, basically, of Kareem for #1 all-time scorer in the NBA. He's leaving about 100 points on the table. Tass, I know you love to tweet about LeBron's chase for Kareem. So you think this is going to be major?
No, yeah, but I think this is a smart move to make sure he gets himself right for next season. He's clearly still struggling from that groin injury. The Lakers have got nothing to play for, so you may as well just sit down, have a rest. LeBron hasn't had a holiday in 10 years, it seems like. So now he's got some time off. He can go cruising, sip a little vino out in Italy, as he likes to do. I think it's a good idea. Instead of LeBron, he's LeBroff.
I love your play on words. I love it. He's 5,844 points short. You know I love my math. That's 3 good seasons of LeBron James. Even if he depreciates a little bit, give him 4 seasons. He's got it in the bag. This isn't news. You know why this is slightly news, actually? The headline was Luke Walton says the Lakers shut him down. I think that's a good thing for Luke Walton going towards the future. He's on the hot seat, but you're in LeBron's good books when you say, LeBron didn't shut it down. We told him to shut it down. The man's always thinking.
All right, Trey, hit us with another headline, please.
Our final headline is by way of NBC Sports, and it reads, NBA breaks three-point record for 7th consecutive season. Is this news?
No, of course this is not news.
That's
This is
good.
the way the league is going right now. Everyone's just shooting threes all the time. Daryl Morey, this is what he wants. He wants players to just come down and bomb threes. You know why? Because 3 is worth more than 2.
Nice.
So why not shoot more threes? James Harden's going to hit, or he's going to attempt about 1,000 himself. I think in a couple of years' time, that's going to be the norm. You're going to see everybody just firing away, and soon you're going to have a
Gonna
guy-
be the norm.
Yeah,
it is the norm. I think you nailed it,
Yeah.
Tass. Everybody knows that 3 is worth more than 2. Everybody has worked out the math problem. If you're a bad shooter, it's better to miss 3s than it is to miss 2s. No matter what you do, you got to get those shots up, just like you, Lee, always shooting around in the other studios.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up there, Skeets, because this is good news for me. You know why? I still got a shot at the league. Sign me to a 10-day. Why the heck not? Did you see me at my 3-point contest a couple months ago? I was money in the bank. Watch these numbers ding up. Yeah, I was there, Trey. You can't shoot like me.
Well,
Watch,
you hit 2
watch.
out of 5.
I'm gonna fly here. 1.
This is your spot, Lee.
Yeah, you know it.
This is your
you
spot.
know it. Pat.
Very smart putting it there.
Bingo, 19.
E-dog.
Yeah.
How many people can do that in the NBA?
The counting, however, was the problem.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what happens with old age men. You know, they can't count
They can't
anymore.
count. They can't keep it straight.
Yeah. But look, the Warriors just signed Andrew Bogut back from a couple of years off. Why can't they sign another Australian? I think there's a chance for you.
Thank you very much. I've always said you're a brilliant man, Taz.
Okay, well, let us know what you think about these headlines. Hit us up on Twitter, #TheStarters. Let us know, are these newsworthy or are these not newsworthy? We got to take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk to Jared Greenberg about talking to Dwayne Wade. Stick around.
I did the math, and 3 is greater than 2. You guys
Bill?
agree? Yeah.
The Starters is presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey.
Welcome back to the show. Tonight on NBA TV, we've got a doubleheader for you. The late game is the Cavaliers at Suns, but before that, we have the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics. And joining us live from TD Garden to talk about it, it's Jared Greenberg. There he is. Welcome back, Jared. It's great to have you back. First question, what is going on there tonight at the TD Garden? I saw you tweet something earlier saying that overnight a beer line that runs the Celtics locker room at the TD Garden rotted away and now the entire arena smells awful. What's going on?
Well, if you were ever to use the poop emoji on your phone, and that's what it smelled like in here when we first entered the building a couple hours ago. What happened was there was a beer line that ran directly above the Celtics locker room. And apparently there were several different types of beverages that were running in these lines. And overnight they rotted away, and that's what caused the smell. Now, maybe I'm just numb to it because I've been in the building for a couple hours now, but it seems to have gone away a little bit, and it's not as bad as it was a couple hours ago, but it was not pleasant in here for a long time.
Well, that's good. Looks like we're going to have a good game tonight. It might be Dwayne Wade's last visit to the Boston Garden, a place where he has had some pretty good battles. What did you got a chance to talk to him? What did he have to say? How's he feeling going into tonight's game? A big game for the Heat.
Well, he's feeling great, and as you guys know, watching Dwayne Wade, he's had some huge moments this season. I mean, the reason why they're in contention right now to make the playoffs is due in large part to the play of Wade. So earlier today, I had the opportunity to sit down with him, and part of our conversation was about why isn't he coming back to play anymore past this year?
I know I can. It's never been a moment where I didn't think I could. I know I could do it for another year, another 2 years. I know I can. The role that I'm in, obviously this organization, I can play this role for a few more years. It wasn't about that for me. It was just more so about me, looking at the overall, picture and overall of my career, where I'm at now, where I'm at in my life, my personal life, just everything. And when I looked at it, I said, you know what, this is time for me, to walk away from the game. Eventually they're going to put me out, so let me get out before they put me out.
And Wade added on there that, making the playoffs would be really special. He cited the very famous Pat Riley quote to the young team: keep the main thing the main thing. Focus on making the playoffs, focus on being great every night. And that's why this team is in position right now to make the playoffs.
One other thing that Dwayne Wade's been doing a lot this season is exchanging his jersey with an opponent. You didn't want to offer up your white sweater there for him to get that practice jersey from him, did you, this afternoon?
I tried to, but he said wrong size.
All right, Jared, Tass here. The Celtics and Pacers both 45-32, battling to see who gets home court advantage. In the first round, Boston has been open about not worrying much about the regular season. We've heard Kyrie Irving, Al Horford are going to be resting down the stretch eventually. Jared, how concerned is Boston with getting home court in the first round?
Well, I think they would like it. I think that's a luxury that every team would like, especially this building. It's so tough to play in as a visitor, particularly in playoff games. But I asked specifically Brad Stevens about that balance at this time of the year of making sure your players get healthy for the playoffs versus finding that rhythm on the court. And he simply said, we're not playing anyone if they're hurt. We're not going to risk doing further damage to them and potentially missing them in the playoffs if they're not 100% healthy. So this team, while they love home court advantage, they are clearly putting a priority on getting their team healthy and ready for the playoffs.
They did lose a Game 7 at home against the Cavaliers in last year's playoffs. It's kind of interesting, don't you think, that they're not too concerned about having home court advantage for any sort of Game 7 that might be happening during the first round of the playoffs?
Right. I mean, it seems when they fall, and too, if you think about it, not that, anybody wants to particularly play any particular team, especially with how hard Indiana plays, but let's face it. I mean, this Boston team has a bunch of guys who have been there and done that. And while Indiana went to the playoffs last year, as we all know, they're missing their biggest star in Victor Oladipo. So I think they kind of recognize the situation that's going to be at hand here. As good as Indiana has played, if they do wind up in that 4-5 game, whether they're the 4 or the 5, I think that they feel like they have the upper hand.
All right, sounds good, Jared. Thank you. Say hi to Kenny G for us, please.
Yeah, enjoy the game tonight, Jared.
You guys are going to let me go and let me say hi to him. Right?
I hope you don't come back smelling like beer. Don't go away anybody. Weekend Whoopsies coming up next.
Yo, K-Skeets.
Welcome back to the starters. Skeets, Tass, Lee, and Trey here. Today is April Fool's Day, so you know we gotta hit you with some weekend whoopsies, the hoops and the bloops from this past weekend. Take it away,
Friday
Tassie.
night, the Wolves leading the Warriors by 3 points in overtime. Karl Anthony Towns cares not at all for Draymond Green's three-point shooting ability. Just gives him the old wave off too. You're not gonna hit that.
Catmandu, shoot that, please.
We've heard of double dog dares, and we've heard of double dutch. How about double dog, double dutch? Just going down at the Fortress.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You're a good boy.
Friday night, Celtics legend and color commentator Tommy Heinsohn really enjoyed this three-pointer from Marcus Smart.
Smart's gonna take the shot, gets it off. Got it!
Tommy.
Dwayne Wade was only credited with one block in the Heat's win over the Knicks this weekend. Maybe he should have gotten another for shutting down Emmanuel Moutier's request for a jersey exchange. See Moutier ask, hey, let me get this.
Oh, man.
This looks nice. I'd like to have this.
You gotta have reservations, Emmanuel.
Check out Andre Drummond here. He gets the steal, starts a fast break, goes behind the back. Now he's just got to finish it. The easiest part, you know?
Looks like you, Lee.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, come on now, Skates, eh?
Like Monty Ellis, this whoopsie has it all. We start with a missed shot, then a near turnover, ball off the foot. Draymond Green drives, saves it, a near turnover again. Some dribbles, some weird passes in the corner, and finally Klay Thompson gonna cap things off by shooting it off the side of the backboard and turning it over.
It's like the Warriors from 10 years ago. Time running out between the Clippers and the Grizzlies, and Tyrone Wallace and Sandarius Thorne will try to get the other guy to commit the turnover.
Yeah.
You take it. No, you take it.
want it.
No, you have it. No. Okay. Bad luck. You got it.
The bubonic plague.
Ah,
World
nice.
War calls it. It infects you.
Good stuff. Jabari Parker must be a big Kesha fan, because he's going down. He's yelling timber. Oof. Tripped on the old
Classic.
three-point line. Happens to me all the time.
4-point game between the Nuggets and the Wizards last night. Denver's Paul Millsap at the line for 2 free throws. He's a 73% shooter. You think he's going to make one? No, misses both. But look at this hustle. Gets the ball back. He's going to lay it up.
Right.
Watch this. Oh.
Tip
No.
it in.
No. Oh, man. Rough night. Nuggets lost that game.
Oh,
Wow.
I haven't heard much from Dwight Howard lately, but he was back with the Wizards on Sunday when the refs ejected Nikola Jokic. Dwight was there to help with the old heave-ho!
Oh.
You're out of
farted
here!
over there. I farted over here.
Expelliarmus!
De'Aaron Fox won't let anything from stop him trying to block this shot from Bryn Forbes. He even goes Vince Carter over Frederick Weiss on the defensive end to try to block it. Great hustle.
We need some genuine.
Yeah. Nice.
There you go.
De'Aaron Fox.
Great set of whoopsies, but we still got to take one last break. When we come back, Lily, it's VSP time.
You better believe it. Got a goodie for ya. Welcome back to the show. We asked you, what's your favorite NBA prank? Trey, you've got some of the best answers.
Oh, you better believe it. We got some great answers. Remember the time Mark Cuban got into a fist fight with the referee? Oh, poor old Del Harris thought this was real. Great call there from Hootie Furcho. Then there was the time NBA on TNT pranked Shaq by saying that even Jack Sikma was ranked higher than him in the top 10 centers of all time.
Got him.
Got him for sure. But of course, who can forget a classic Spurs one? Manu Ginobili throws the paper cup under Tim Duncan, and Tim Duncan got it. Classic Spurs humour. They all love it. Oh, we miss you, Manu. But,
Oh, I
guys,
miss you the most, Manu.
you know what my favourite prank is of all time? It's another fucking
All right, I'll take a agenda.
He's gonna be full.
Go and get it in there. Go on. You did bar 3 this morning.
Not as good as the first one.
Oh, not good at all, mate. Not good at all.
Got him. All right, on to the Pick'em play. The month of March came down to Friday's Hornets and Lakers game. Trey loses. Kemba Walker continues his batter run against LeBron. 28
Even when
and
I
0.
win, I lose somehow. I don't quite get this. What's going on?
Trey,
This
you
is
just
crazy.
fell apart.
Yes.
Just pick one wrong right, Mike.
Trey
Not that
almost
hard,
as
mate.
bad as Kemba Walker right now. He started the month 6-4, ended it 7-12. What shall Trey be doing? Well, you tell us at #TheStarters. Send in your suggestions. Trey will be doing this very, very soon. As soon as we come up with an idea.
I might cut my beard.
Wow.
I think you
Prepared
should do
to
it.
do it.
I think you should do it.
That would be good.
Lee, VSP.
A bit of a controversial VSP here. It's off an inbounds. Tim Frazier finds Pat Connaughton toward a dunk. It is a traditional two-hand slam. I would have liked him to finish with a layup.
A dunk!
Nonetheless, George to Earth onto Tim to Pat, and that's what I call a very solid play.
Come
Very
on.
solid.
Skeets is
Come
angry.
on.
Skeets is angry. Well, it was a good
Oh,
weekend
don't
for
pick it,
wedgies.
it picks me.
It was a good weekend for wedgies, guys. Number 34 happened on Friday night in OKC. Craig blocking Westbrook.
Beautiful.
Sticking it. Nice defensive block wedgie. Number 35, Saturday in LA, Sweet Lou Williams from distance.
Beautiful.
To give us that one. Yes, very beautiful. But number 36, definitely a favorite, thanks in large part to the Brooklyn Nets commentator, Sarah Kustok on the call.
Williams denied by Allen. Blocked it right into a wedgie.
Starters, they're calling for you. Big time block and a wedgie. Does it get any better than this?
No, it doesn't, Sarah. Love the shout out. Love the energy for that wedgie. They do come in bunches, up to 36.
We bring the energy every Tuesday. Record the drop. Get it where you get your podcast. Lee, we got time for a fan sign.
All right, we're going out to LA here.
You've been cheated.
Right to see
April
you, mate.
Fool's cheat.
And April cheat.
10 before tip coming up with Rick Hamlin and Jared Greenberg.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, things aren't always what they seem, but they're sexy.